Seeing how it's 6:30, I'd like to go ahead and call the meeting to order. If everybody would stand. Join me for the pledge. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any agenda adjustments? Consideration of the minutes. 2.1, to approve the minutes of the January 25th, 2023 Board of Directors meeting.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Bob?
Yeah, I noticed the title says it's a Board of Directors special meeting. That was a regular meeting.
Any other discussion?
I'm hoping the agenda didn't say special. and I missed
No,
that.
it did not.
It doesn't.
All right, seeing as there's no further discussion, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All those not? All those abstaining?
I didn't read them, so I don't.
And 3, we'll go down to public comment. At this time, we invite the public to go ahead and come up and offer your comments. Please remember to state your name and the town that you are from. Seeing as there's none, we'll move on to 4, petitions and communications. Are there any? And 5, reports. The superintendent report.
Okay, so I know top of mind is the high school and what's going on at the high school. I know some of you are watching the Channel 8 video of the water coming down. And, you know, our special thank you to everybody that's been helping out. I mean, the maintenance crew has been amazing, the staff at the high school being flexible and moving, and the Wales Fire Department for going to 2 calls. And then we had Siemens there all weekend. Lorian, who just, every time there was a new crack, he was over there plugging it up. And then we had our sprinkler systems staff as well, helping with sprinkler heads. So the work continues there. You know, at first glance you think, oh, it's all cleaned up. And then you learn that water likes to seep into walls. And so because of the level of flooding, we've had to remove, and I've given you all these updates, but for the public, the borders of the bottom of classrooms and hallways that were impacted by the flooding have been removed, and holes have been drilled in. Fans arrived. John had 24 more fans arriving this afternoon, focused on key areas. The science wing has been the hardest impact, so we're working on sealing that hallway off. And Marco, I know, has been working hard about if we open on Monday, where do those classes go? And and we're crossing our fingers that the rest of some of those areas will be dry enough for students to be in. But that particular wing has to have a special water moisture removal system. And so there's extra work to be there. We have had quote. We did have a local construction business reach out to us the minute they heard about it and said, if you need any support or help, we're Oak Hill graduate. This child goes to one of our schools, so we really appreciate that. Jumped right in and has quoted. We did hear from the adjuster, so we have been in contact. The adjuster probably will be here maybe at the end of the week. We're not sure. And but John and Sam have been connecting with the adjuster around costs. But we're trying to start with priority, which is what is exposed, and then go into what are other areas that have to be done. So it's been a lot of work, but a lot of teamwork, and everybody really just trying to keep moving forward. As you know, Marco announced that Spirit Week will be next week if we're back in, so that I'm sure made the students happy. Destiny can talk about that. So are there any questions around the high school?
Do we know what caused, like it was a busted pipe or?
Yeah, so in the first the first break happened where there are two outdoor doors. And that is the first one that went, and that went on Saturday. And then the fear was the warm-up. So things freeze, and then they warm up. So during the warm-up is when the other pipes had some cracks. So what happened is they fixed one, so the water went off. They'd fix it, and they'd start the water up, and they'd find another one. And then we had one sprinkler head pop in the industrial arts supply closet, and we had another one in the kitchen freeze. And then there was a cracked pipe there. So there were several little cracks, but the one in the chemistry, because it was running, we don't know for how long, that had significant, I mean, it was down the hallway, down into other hallways, and so that really impacted.
Did they freeze because the temperature got too low?
Mhm.
Is there like, has that happened before? Or is there a way to have like a monitor that flags somebody when the temperature gets low so they don't?
Well, no, it's all about installation. It's, it's where the wind was blowing. It had a lot of factors. This Friday, John was up there stuffing installation into certain areas that we thought were going to be the hot spots, and they didn't have the leaks. Yeah. All right, so that worked. So part of the quotes that are coming in for construction work that has to be done will be insulation. So it's increased insulation around certain areas. So no, you don't know. I mean, this was, these temperatures record-breaking. So they went after the areas they thought were under-insulated and thought these were fine, and then it happened. Robbie?
Yeah, I've had some discussions with people in the public about it, and the problem is, it's the design of the roof, the peak roof. There is so much cold space above the actual living space. You could fill it from ceiling to insulation, but all it takes is a little air to get in someplace, and things start to freeze. I mean, this is something that we've lived with at Oak Hill and other schools, or it just happens. And every time we do, we insulate those areas again, and it doesn't happen in that area, and it happens
Right.
in another area. So it happens.
Right. We were fortunate that really the other buildings held up pretty well. I mean, well, they all did. Libby Tozier did have a break, but it was in a supply, it was more in a storage area that flooded the pre-K rooms, but that was much smaller and quickly cleaned up. Didn't have the same level of flooding.
Yeah.
So, we were waiting for other buildings.
Yeah. And in the past at Oak Hill, where we had well water, we've had breaks that would run the well dry.
Yeah.
And consequently, then we'd be without water.
That's exactly what my husband said.
Right, and now with the
But
city
now we're
water,
on the
now with
town
city water,
water, and
it
it
runs.
just kept
It
going.
just goes.
Oh, yes.
Right. Yeah, Lorian said the last one, he fixed it, and it went 25 minutes without anything. So they thought they were in the clear, and then something went.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, you never find them when they're froze, you find them when
Correct.
they're thaw.
Yeah.
He does
Yeah.
Picks pipe.
Well, the students always wanted a pool.
Yeah, there you go.
Right, in the weight room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To update you on the middle school basketball hoops, Brian's been working with the company on the hoops there, and what we're finding out is it really was on the pulley system, and so it's under warranty. So they've ordered the parts, they're off limits of any use. They are in the gym, but they know not to be near the hoops. Although the gentleman said, I think they're safe, but we're not taking any risk. So we're going to wait for the parts, which will be 3 to 4 weeks out. Transportation, we were doing really well, and now we're not doing as well. But I have to tell you, kudos to Kathy Perry and her team today to look at that pink run. They were even on the school bus today, 4 drivers, driving that, again, thinking outside the box to try to do whatever they can. But what we are going to do is try to stay with the pink being covered and look at some other runs that may go down, how can they consolidate somehow or pick up different students. So they're always thinking outside the box as we're anticipating some issues next week, but she's being proactive and will have a plan to us tomorrow around handling some things next week. But really, the crew is really trying to think outside, how can we pick up this street? How can you pick up this street? But, you know, for them to take the initiative to get on a bus and really talk it out and see it for themselves and what they can do was really great. And then you can see on this superintendent's update is, you know, kudos to our LRTC Skills USA, doing really well in the competitions. I thought really impressive. And then we did receive the revolving renovation funds. At the Finance Committee in March, we've done work talking to the loan officer around how that all works. We've had a call with the attorney around what are next steps, so I'll be sharing that with the Finance Committee on which direction. We have a proposal, and we want to check in with you about that. And then talking to you about the remote days and being ready, and of course the high school. They wanted to practice. Well, they have a practice now, so they'll be ready. And then, you know, budget meetings are continuing. We also are going for a grant for a mentor through AmeriCorps. Really, to have the mentor is a $4,500 commitment, which will go into the ESSER funds. So we're moving a few funds around for other things, and that one's going to be included. And then about the girls' basketball games, and then the boys, girls had their senior night this week, and the boys also. And they've been raising money. Do you know how much money they raised for?
Just under $1,200.
So that's great. So really excellent turnout. I know, Brian, you'll probably have it on your next report, but great community turnout for those events. And then you saw that how many of our teachers were nominated for Teacher of the Year. What's really so wonderful is not just, you know, not only colleagues nominating, but parents and students. It was just great to see how many of our staff was nominated, and we put that on our Facebook page, and so congratulations to all of those folks.
Any questions? Moving
I
on.
have a question.
Bob?
Yeah, so it's under the superintendent, but the retirements.
Oh,
How-
yeah.
How are we going to take care of Mr. McCarty's position?
So we have talked about that, and Marco has a committee together, and you can talk about it probably when you do your report. But there's a committee getting together to get student feedback and talk about what they want to do for that programming. We've also talked to LRTC, Rob Callahan, to see, you know, what is his advice in feeding programs. So yes, we know it's a big fill, and it's been top of mind since he told us that he's going to be retiring. If you want to add more, when you get it.
Moving on, superintendent's report will be next meeting. Financial report is next meeting, so we'll move down to
So it
administrative
says,
report.
excuse me, Jill, it says March 22nd.
Yeah.
That's not right, is it?
No, it's the first
The
meeting in
first
March.
meeting
Yep,
in
First
March.
meeting in
Yeah.
March, yes.
March what?
March 8th.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
All right, we'll go down to the administrator's report. First report is Dustin and Michaela.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, NJ. So those of you who may not know me, I'm Michaela Stevens, assistant principal at Libby Tozier, and I'm going to be doing the Libby Tozier report. So we had a very fun week at Libby Tozier. We had our teddy bear parade where students were able to bring in a stuffy for the day. So even if they weren't in the classroom, their stuffies were in their seat, keeping them warm. And we had the Carol String Band that's attached to Libby Tozier perform for our students. They did a wonderful job. The students all lined up and with their stuffies came into singing, sat down. They were entertained through the entire performance. They actually reached out to do a performance at Carrie Ricker 2 that we're going to be setting up. So thank you to the Carol String Band and Pat Bailey for putting that on for us. We also had our January in-service day, so professional development for that day. We had our amazing math coaches, Brandy and Becky, do some math and literacy PD with our K teachers. We went over RTI data. We have our 2 kindergarten ed techs pulling for, it's okay. Pulling for RTI groups and just working on some different phonics skills. And as you can see, that's October to December data, and we've seen some incredible growth.
And the high green is good.
Yes, green is good. Yes, and we did some building the nest activities with the balloon, tossing the balloon up, getting another person's name, so just some icebreaker activities, and people seem to really enjoy that. We got our NOEA sessions all set up, went over growth plans, and added to those as well.
This meeting is being recorded.
Thank you.
I'd also like to do some shout outs. We had 2 Libby Tozier teachers be nominated for Kennebec County Teacher of the Year. So we have Allison Casares and Brittany Shaw. So Allison Casares is a pre-K teacher. It's her first year running the pre-K room. And Brittany Shaw in kindergarten. Also on the left is a picture of Allison Casares. As you can see, that back closet was the point of damage at Libby Tozier. And I just want to thank our custodial staff. They were in there over the weekend. They moved everything. They saved supplies. We even had Brenda Pooters take some pillows that Allison Casares had and wash them and bring them back for her. They just go above and beyond for everything that they need. And within 4 to 5 hours, classrooms were set back up and we were ready to go the next day. So that was pretty amazing. Everyone had such positive attitudes, and especially compared to Oak Hill, small problem. And just we really saw a community come together to help, and we have a great community at Libby Tozier. Also for our PTA, we had Judy Sear, was our TAG award winner, and we just love Judy. She goes above and beyond for our students, makes great connections, so that was perfectly timed. Thank you. I'll click for you.
I do want to just quickly touch upon Libby Tozier as well. Over the last few weeks, we've dealt with different issues that are out of our control, from heat to the flooding situation. And as you could tell, I don't know if you could see, but Allison Casares says she had 2 thumbs up. They have been nothing but resilient at every turn, and it's really impressive. It's truly a community feel if you haven't been in Libby Tozier. But it also resonates with our students as well. They feel the positivity from the teachers, and it's definitely showing throughout our school. So it's a great environment to be in. So Carrie Ricker. Carrie Ricker continues to thrive in a variety of ways. Here we can see the work of our physical education teacher, Jason Cohen, who has been doing different types of activities with students. Jason has combined exercise, healthy eating, and how these affect our mind, our body, and overall outlook. Students are able to participate in the gym maze that you can see up top, having fun and learning at the same time. Students even went as far as to question our pizza for lunch that day. However, after one bite of the amazing cafeteria staff pizza, they quickly changed their minds. During our January in-service day, we had the pleasure of having our ACES training with staff. This is where staff are able to discuss adverse childhood experiences and how they affect students in our everyday lives. Normally, this is something that we hire a professional to come in, but we are very lucky to have an expert on our staff, Jenny Clucci Austin, who also does the safety care training. She was able to train staff for all staff, ed techs, teachers, and even some other people on our staff took part in this training, which adds to our common language and conversations that we are able to have around our students with everyone in school. In our exit ticket responses for this day, this training was overwhelmingly appreciated by staff, and they have asked if this is an area we can continue to develop and have conversations throughout the school year. In our shout-out section, we see the first of our TAG awards, which stands for Teacher Staff Appreciation Gift by the amazing PTA. This was given to our brand new GT teacher, Elizabeth Marcoux. Elizabeth was our first recipient of this award. We really appreciate the recognition and acknowledgement for our incredible staff. We also have some exciting news as 2 fourth grade teachers have been nominated by their peers and community for County Teacher of the Year. Stacy LeClaire and Chuck Begani are both teachers who are very deserving of this nomination for their continuous dedication to the profession. Finally, this month is Kindness Month, and we continue to fill our school with kindness strips. The students and staff are filling out when they see an act of kindness. Be on the lookout for the kindness chain that we're hoping to stretch throughout the whole entire school. If you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them. All right, thank you.
Up next is Amy, Jenny, and Annie.
Hello. I'm Annie Arnold, the assistant principal at Sabattis Primary School. Okay, so these are pictures of our January 12th book shopping event. Rebecca D'Alessandro, our literacy coach, set this up, ordered the books, and had all the grade levels come down and choose free books. And there was a buzz around the school as they were excited about their new books and sharing them with each other. All like nonfiction theme to go along with our Sparks Art event, which is finally going to happen tomorrow, pending weather. What's happening though? I think we're doing it.
Rain.
So the book selections were funded through Title I funds, and will be connected to our event tomorrow. Sorry, I already said that. Next slide. There we go. Thank you. This is our NWEA data. So January has been a busy month for SPS staff in professional development with our writing cycles nearing its end and our completion of our NWEA data. You can see we're looking for between 41 and 100th percentile range for our students, and so you can see the grade 1 and grade 2 in reading and math. We're looking to see like the yellow, green, and blue. So our percentages are, as you can see, the January, next slide. Sorry. The January workshop day was busy with nest building activities, math and literacy work with our coaches, Brandy Muncie and Rebecca D'Alessandro, as well as SEL professional development for ed techs, vertical teaming for UAs, and time for all staff to work on their personal professional growth plans. January 25th, while Becky, that's the middle piece, we have a January 25th PLG. While Becky, Brandy, and I met with Deb Hogate and Dustin at Carrie Ricker to work on the upcoming year's plan for professional development cycles. Kathy was at SPS, leading them into a deep dive of the NWEA data, family report, learning continuum, and the achievement status and growth reports, all with different intents and purposes, helping the teachers understand what the reports are for and how to look at them for bettering their instruction and making groups, and how to sort of guide parents through the process of where their students are at in terms of that assessment. All right, the third column is our, it's not the next slide, it's just the third column. The PLG on February 1st was focused on writing work with Becky D'Alessandro, and then we had an hour of discussion and planning for our remote learning time. Thank you, Katie Grondin, for showing, for coming with us there and supporting us. In that discussion, SPS staff jumped right into that problem solving and planning discussion and moved quickly into putting things together and pulling their resources and having great conversations about what they're going to need moving forward, and we continued that work today and will be finalized tomorrow. All right, next slide. So this is Jolene Passant. She is our PTA winner of that drawing, and then I do want to make a shout out. I don't have photos of the 2 teachers that were nominated for Teacher of the Year, but Shannon Willette in grade 2 and Jolene Passant in grade 2. She's actually here. So they were nominated for Teacher of the Year, which is amazing. So the pictures on the right are showing the staff working at the teacher workshop day on the nest building activity. That was sort of our end of day activity where we were coming together and talking about how we're going to build the nest for each other as staff and for our students. And Jess Lopes, our art teacher, helped me create this bulletin board with the nest and all of the staff's eggs that they created at the staff meeting. Last, do I think I have another slide. Sorry, I have a lot of slides. I'm so proud. So this is our last community meeting that we had, where parents, you can see there's a few parents at the back. We were really excited that we had some parents coming to attend. We had our Sammy Superstar winners, which is always a huge hit, and the kids have so much fun. I'm not going to show the video of the wonderful Readers Theater because I didn't want to show up. I didn't want to, have Marco follow that act, but it was really cute. It was like 4 minutes long, and the kids did a really nice job, and the parents that came were able to see that. So hopefully we're going to have more parents as they create more buzz about it in the future, because it was such a nice time for our community. Thank you. Questions?
Just a shout out that you can park in the pickup line, go in and watch the meeting, and still not have to move your car until
Right.
they open the gate.
Just
So
hop back in the
there's
car and go pick up your
there's
child.
like 40 parents that are there, right, like a half an hour before the gate opens. So maybe go out the next meeting and just invite them in.
Absolutely.
We're trying to do that every day for reading,
I
so
know.
shout out to anyone that would like to just get out of the car, come read with children. They're in line for about an hour and 15 minutes.
Right?
It's like
Well, when you have a middle school kid who gets out a half an hour before, there's no other place to go but sit in the line. So there's quite a few of us that are.
We have volunteer packets, so if anyone
Cat.
would like to join.
Perfect.
To have you.
Hi, everyone. So at Oak Hill Middle School, we are very excited to share that we had 7 of our teachers at Oak Hill Middle School nominated for the 2023 Androscoggin County Teacher of the Year. It's a tremendous acknowledgement of the excellent work that our teachers do every day in the classroom and in the school, and the impact that they have on our students. So Ruth Cody, Jeff Ireland, Jen Rinko, Jamie Spencer, Lori Bouchard, Aaron Reynolds, and Beth Peffer. 8th grade students had an exciting opportunity to meet with the author Todd Strasser in a virtual visit. Mrs. Remington used Strasser's book, The Wave, to teach the literacy concepts such as identifying themes. Students were engaged with the author in an open dialogue virtually, which was pretty exciting. They had great questions pertaining to the book that they read, and Todd talked with the students about other books that he's written, one that's been turned into a movie. And Mrs. Remington shared with me that after, several of our students were really eager to go to the library and pick other books from this author that we had to share. In 7th grade humanities, students are working on demonstrating proficiency in several writing and social studies standards through a Native American research project. In Mrs. Bedard's 6th grade reading classes, they're using interactive Jamboards, as you can see in the middle picture next to the Wave book up there. And that's how they capture their thinking with virtual sticky notes throughout class. Ms. Rinko's 5th grade writers are practicing informational writing, and they're learning to revise their own work through drafting and peer writing conferences. Our professional development in January included a continuation of our committee work, which staff then reported out to the whole staff. Other trainings included intervention work, math with Brandy Munsey, who came up to the middle school to do some work with our teachers. Literacy was with Karen Matthew, and Tier 1 behavior supports was facilitated by Heaven Farrington. Staff then enjoyed a potluck lunch together, and they wrapped up with team building activities afterwards before they traveled in the afternoon to work in their content area teams. The winter NWEAs were completed in the month of January. NWEAs are a computerized adaptive test that maps a student's academic growth and proficiency in math, reading, and language. The test is adaptive, which means that the question's difficulty changes according to the student's previous answers. This ensures that the test is uniquely tailored to each student to show his or her individual academic progress. So we've been hard at work analyzing the data to provide interventions that fully support the identified gaps. We've worked with teachers on the data analysis specific to the math language usage section of the NWA assessment. Interventions implemented consist of small groups of students whose classroom performance and assessment scores indicate gaps in reading and or writing. The goal of the intervention block is to lift the literacy achievement of students who are not achieving grade level expectations in literacy. Teachers providing interventions are working to meet individual needs and to provide the very specific instruction that each learner needs to move forward.
Hello, and I'll be talking about culture. We had our second School Dance of the Year hosted by the 8th grade class. Students and staff enjoyed themselves, and we'd like to give a shout out to the 8th grade parents who helped us out at the dance, and one 6th grade parent who we roped into helping out with tickets for a little time.
We also had a video that we chose not to share as well.
Because of Mariah, yeah.
Sounds like somebody got the word out early.
The TAG Award, or the Teacher Appreciation Gift Award, created by the RSU4 PTA, was a way of thanking the staff who make a difference every day. Oak Hill Middle's January winner is Erin Reynolds. And for the graph, we'd like to show as we continue building a positive school climate and culture at Oak Hill Middle, we are excited to highlight a decline in the number of behavior incidents or disciplinary actions since the beginning of the school year. Some of the incidents include technology violations, inappropriate behavior such as disrespect. I have worked with the Dean of Students and Mrs. St. Pierre to establish tiered behavior supports. In conjunction with the school-wide PBIS we're implementing, we've been able to intervene and support students and staff and bring about this decline. Any questions?
Good job. Good job.
Thank you.
Any questions? All set? All right. Marco?
Says here you blocked out 20 minutes for the video.
Yeah.
Yeah, right?
So I said, Robbie and I had a dropout prevention committee meeting shortly after that call out on the video. I think that was you, Christy, wasn't it? Yeah, I think so. And I said to Robbie, you know what I'm going to do? I said, I'm going to just record my update, and they're going to watch it. They're just going to watch me read my update. But I didn't do it. Anyway, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see all of you. I hope everybody's doing well. I just want to update you on some of the most recent happenings going on at Oak Hill High School. So first and foremost, the high school did not fare well with the extreme temperatures experienced last weekend. The school had several leaks that caused a significant amount of damage. It was really sad to see all the spaces that were affected by the water. But as always, Oak Hill High School and its wonderful staff come together to take care of business. And I'd like to thank our custodial staff, Jay Hopkins, Chris Tremblay, Armin Couillard, Gil Hinckley, and Amy Campbell for their dedication to the school, working tirelessly to clean it up. I'd also like to thank John Varney. Thanks, John. As we've been spending a lot of time together, for his commitment to effective communication and coordination to retain vendors to clean and assess the school. And last but not least, I'd like to thank the staff and students who quickly adjusted their schedules to continue educational experiences remotely. Collectively, the high school and community have responded, and we're ready to get back to school as soon as possible. Next, in continuing with our district-wide theme of building a nest, I would like to share with you some of the many supportive staff members who are committed to ensuring student success. Featured here are Miss Julie Bushy. She's on the right-hand side. She's one of our science teachers. Ms. Heather Finn, who's on the left-hand side. One of our, did I say math teachers? Well, she's one of our math teachers. And Ms. Carrie Quagliaroli, dead center. She's a physical education teacher. I really enjoy getting into classrooms to see what students are learning.
Ms. Bushi's anatomy and physiology class is learning about muscles and muscle structure. Ms. Finn's pre-calculus class, which I think, Destiny, you're in, is that correct? Yes. We were there for that, is applying, they're learning to solve a hypothetical shipwreck. And Ms. Quaglioli's physical education class is competing in a muscle exercise review along with cone agility. The experiences in all three classes are rich, meaningful, and lots of fun, and I appreciate their daily efforts. And since everybody else did it, I thought I would mention that we also have two teachers who are nominated for County Teacher of the Year, and that's Angela Roy, one of our business teachers, and Derek Anderson, also one of our business teachers. So really excited about that. Next, I would like to highlight students of our art teacher, Kirsten Arndt, Orion Dubois, and Jaden Sieber had works entered into the Scholastic Art Competition. Jaden's work on the middle and left-hand side of the slide earned an honorable mention. Orion's work earned the Gold Key Award. In the time Miss Arndt has been at the high school, she has only had one other student win this award. The students, along with Miss Arndt, will be invited to an opening and reception in Portland where their work will be on display, which is pretty fantastic. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know if you knew this or not, but it is National School Counselor Week. I'd like to thank school counselors, Aaron Cloutier, and Director of Guidance, Melissa Gagnon, for their hard work and efforts for our students. Oak Hill High School would not be the same without them. And then I added here, because Bob asked the question regarding Larry, speaking of Oak Hill not being the same without him, Bob mentioned Larry McCarthy's retirement. And so we are very much in the process of discussing next steps for his space. Our vision, or I should say my vision, really is to continue with some of the current programs that have been popular through the years with our students, to keep them engaged in school, especially as they transition to LRTC, but to also broaden our offerings with some of the new technology that's out there. And I will keep you guys updated on our progress. And that concludes my report. Happy to answer any questions that you may have. Great, thank you.
Director's report will be at our next meeting, March 8th, not March 22nd. Student report. No, wait.
So, there hasn't been a lot going on since my last report, other than academic decathlon is really picking up. So we're being tested on seven different subjects relating to the American Revolution. So we're being tested on literature, music, art, science, social science, economics, and I could be forgetting some, but it's a lot of work, and we're starting to be tested on. We're also going to do public speaking, an interview, and we also did our essay competition a week ago. I really want to just highlight how important my team is to me. They put in so much hard work, and it's a lot. Our conference, or official in-person testing, will be on March 4th, but we've started doing some testing before, and it's a lot. Each packet is about 100 pages, so it's a lot. But I'm really proud of them, and we couldn't get as far as we could without them, so I'm really happy. And we are also doing a readers theater, February 28th, I think it is, with the elementary schools. So I think Sabatis Primary, K. Ricker, and Libby Tozier. There will be 4 kids from the high school participating in that. We'll be reading some books to the little kids. And FBLA is also picking up. We have our conference again on March 12th, 13th, and 14th. I'm really excited for that. We're getting our events ready, starting to study, starting to prepare our speeches and our presentations, and it's all coming together, and I'm really happy and excited for that to happen. So I really hope we'll do well, and if we win, this will be our 25th year in a row winning first in the state. Wow. So, hopefully, yeah, no pressure. And Ms. Roy told us that if we win, we get a pizza party, so there you go. Hoping we win. But yeah, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Moving on to old business 6.1, to approve the second reading of the following policies. ADC, tobacco-free schools, use and possession of tobacco and electronic smoking devices.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? No? Seeing as there's none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Next is EEAEF, video cameras in transportation vehicles.
So moved. Second.
Any discussion? Seeing as there's none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Moving on to GCSA, employee computer and internet use.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing as there's none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Next is GCSA-R, employee computer and internet user rules.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing as there's none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? All right, next is JICC, student conduct on school buses.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor? JICC-R, student conduct on buses rules.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing as there's none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? JICCA, student conduct at bus stops.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing as there's none, I'll call for the vote. All those in favor? Thank you. New business, 7.1, discussion of budget goals.
Okay, so I thought we'd just do a quick activity because I know we need to get, we have other business to do. But as we are preparing the budget, it's good to have your input about what do you want to see as priorities as we look at all the different needs and wants in the district. So we're going to do a similar thing with sticky notes of just what are your priorities, what are you hoping to see, and then you can keep the sticky notes right at your seats. Because after you're done, we'll just share out, and then Kathy's going to take the sticky notes and she'll just organize them and then report out what the themes are. You know, this context, I think we talked a little bit about it last time. You know, this is going to be a challenging budget season. You know, Bobby put it well. We're going to pay more locally to receive less statewide. So we know we're going to be up against challenges of with the 5% increase to local evaluation and then a 1% increase in enrollment. And we'll go more into, you know, our ED 279 later in the budget season. But knowing that, you know, we have a lot of starting point, a lot to cover just to maintain where we are and then to address some needs that we have. So it's just this opportunity for you to say things like, example, maintain class sizes as much as possible. Those type of things. Maintenance is a high priority for me. So this giving you a feel to give us a feel of the filters that we're going to use around creating the budget. So we are in the middle of putting it together, and our goal is to have at our first meeting a first draft. Sam has jumped right in and has been inputting all the information. Her and Jess powwow in the office and are putting things together. So they've done incredible work getting us ready in a short period of time. So yes, you're getting sticky notes if you need a pen. So it's one idea per sticky note. Okay, one idea per sticky note. So I'll give you about 3 minutes or so, and then we'll share out. Anyone need a pen?
No.
Thank you. Jesse, you're welcome to take. I have one right here, Kathy. Okay, Diane, do you want to kick us off with sharing your thoughts, and then Kathy will pick them up?
So I put maintain small classroom sizes, continue the free lunch program at schools, maintain the janitorial staff that we have at all schools, hire a principal for SPS, and plan to repair the most important needs at both SPS and Libby Tozier.
Had some similar. Maintain small class sizes, behavioral support in each grade level or at each school. Maintain our administrative team at the middle school with the principal, assistant principal, and dean of students, an addition of the SPS principal, building upkeep, and continued or expanded social emotional support for students.
Maintain small classroom sizes if we can. I'd like to try and keep the teachers that we have using the URSA money, and the administration. I think listening to them, we're getting a really good feedback on exactly how important their positions are. But then again, I'd like to keep the budget at a 5% or lower increase, so I don't know how to do that.
Maintain class sizes as much as possible, find ways to keep the current admin structure at the middle school after the grant funding runs out next year. Do/finish the field hockey and softball field project. Redo paving of the sidewalks at the high school. It's a safety issue at this point. And keep as much programming as possible at all levels, given the current budget situation.
I'm just giving you maintain class sizes at this point. I still have all this stuff running through my head, so I'd like to maintain the class sizes.
School maintenance and repair, maintain class sizes, more interventionists in math and reading, expand pre-K, assistant principals at SPS and Carrie Ricker, and one more SRO, either full-time or part-time.
I had improvements to maybe some restroom facilities, such as like maybe newer locks, and then I also had maybe more lunch options for like maybe where people are like vegetarian or vegan friendly, or people who would just have like different dietary restrictions, just so people can have a different choice in case they can't bring lunch from home.
I had reading and math programs, support staff, business drivers and transportation, sports and extracurricular activities, basketball, hoops, outdoors, grants, behavioral support, internships with local businesses, and better communication.
I just have one. It's to fund the engineering surveys that were needed at the two older schools, so we know what the financial impacts are going to be on maintaining those over the next 10 to 20 years.
Well, many of them, many of those suggestions are involved, and a lot of things we hadn't thought of. So that's a great exercise to hear from what's going on in your thoughts. And you're right, Vicki, it's going to be a challenge to maintain. So, we're going to bring forward what we think is reasonable, and you're going to hear the things that would not be covered. So you're going to get a good picture of what is in the budget, what isn't in the budget, and our thought process as we work through each of the cost centers.
Can I ask what your top three are?
What my top three are?
Where's your sticky note?
Oh, you're going to find out at our first budget meeting, Laura. I have to see the whole big picture. We haven't hit the final number yet. Yeah, exactly. Okay, good. So Kathy, when you went up there, what did you see a strong?
Oh, yep. So I have categories that I kind of put up there. First column is reduced classroom size. So all of these are about classroom size. This is about specific programming. This was the SRO, bus driver, so I was looking at staff. This was about our admin. This is about maintenance and keeping our buildings. This is kind of suggestions on the peripheral here. We got the budget 5% or lower, and then we have like field hockey grants, internships, better communication festival. So those are kind of like other things that we got to think about on that's not necessarily connected to this.
Right. Okay. Thank you.
We'll move down to 8 committee reports. Finance and facilities will be at our next meeting. Personnel Policy Committee.
Yes, we met today. There was a theme of our policies that we reviewed around graduation requirements, early graduation, and graduation exercises. So you can look for those first readings of policy IKF, IKFA, and IKFB to come in your packets for our next meeting. Not many changes in those policies. With the graduations requirements, it was to change the language from FLIP to physical education 1 credit and health 1 credit, which better represents what is being offered at this moment in time. And then the other 2 were very minimal, so those will be coming your way. We also, as a policy and personnel committee, approved a job description for NJ's position because she did not have one. Questions?
Thank you.
Yep.
And CAI and technology will be next meeting. So we'll move on to 9 board member comments. Bobby?
Yeah, I'd like to discuss, I think, would be the way to move forward with Mr. McCarthy leaving. I think what we need to do is open up our program a little bit and maybe have it more of an omnibus program where if we won't be able to find an instructor right away, maybe we can have either guest instructors come in, actual trade people that could do a small 1 or 2 week program.
Can you help me with what Mr. McCarthy?
He's the industrial arts teacher.
Okay.
Yeah, at the high school.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the tech. Yeah.
Thank you.
So
We haven't got that far yet.
Right.
Open that up and make it more of a broad, introduction to trade, maybe, Marco? So we could bring people in from the community, businesses or whatever, and maybe, we can run a 2 or 3 week program where our students can get a hands-on experience and, in and out different things. So I'd be willing to work with you, on anything like that, if, we end up going down that road. Yeah.
And what about like if there's any local businesses like mechanics or public works or banks or anyone that would do like internships, like program type of thing?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Would
that's
it be like just transportation maybe for kids that don't have it?
no, I'm talking about during the school day. It would be,
The businesses would come to the
Would co-
school
would-
versus like kids being
Right.
transported
Yes.
to
right,
the
yeah,
business where
right.
all of the equipment is or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
maybe just a better experience for them if, I don't know, what the insurance.
Yeah, I
or-
mean, right.
Yeah.
So, definitely internships, and there are internships going, maybe you can do that in your next report, is there is internship stuff going on right now through the JMG program. And, but you're right, going into, you want to,
I was just going to say, and also vocational rehab.
the vocational rehab.
Partnership with Goodwill.
Exactly. And so there is a challenge when you go into construction sites and so forth about what our students are allowed to do. So we would just have to look at those agreements that those companies would have to agree to.
And I know, Marco, a lot of companies now, you need a safety training class before you can go on federal jobs and stuff like that. So contractors are having to lay that money out front for their employees to have this special safety training And if we could bring somebody in to give our students that, that would give our students a leg up, you know, on the hiring part of it.
Sure.
And we could, you know, talk to local mechanics or, you know, plumbing contractors, carpentry people, you know, in the community, even if they could come in for a week and, you know, bump our students through a small program.
Yeah, I mean, Robbie, I think it would just be, logistics more than anything else.
Right.
We're talking about essentially like seminars, right?
Sure,
So it's like,
right.
a couple, 2 weeks, we're gonna cover in this next 2 weeks, this trade,
Yeah.
or, this.
I know when I was there, we used to build sheds that would take 4 or 5 classes to do. And it would go from the base all the way to the roof. You know, but we could bring a local contractor in and say, look, you know, winter's a great time for something like that. You'd be working inside. Give us a list of material that we need. We could get the list of material, and we could, you know, have the students there and, you know, actually go through the process. You know, tear a small motor down, or, you know, work on a car, change the oil. You know, on a boil, you know, change the nozzle on a boiler. You could do all those things and kind of have, you know, each student get a taste of many things.
Sure, I appreciate it, Robbie. Thank you.
Yeah.
And just to piggyback on that, I think it's just important to note out loud that for some students, this is the carrot to get them to school, this
Right.
type of program. So just being really mindful of continuing that, because there's kids that we reach through that program that we probably wouldn't reach in school if the program doesn't exist.
Yeah, we use it as very much, as you said, a carrot, but it's also, it provides our students prerequisites to a lot of programs at LRTC that a lot of schools that don't have industrial arts, don't have that opportunity. We don't get that experience.
And we've talked about that in the dropout prevention program, you know, that building a shed can be a math class.
For sure.
You know what I mean? Can be a math class. You know, you're gonna need math. You're gonna know, you know, how to fractions and angles and geometry and, you know, all that.
Absolutely.
I think the nice thing is too, you're finding that technical centers, and this is something that Kathy and I have been involved with, I would say, Kathy, we've been talking about it for a long time. But, it's picking up steam in the sense that LRTC or the vocational centers around the state are adopting standards. I mean, they've always had standards, you know what I mean? I mean, as you were saying,
Right.
Robbie, it's there, but it's to put it on paper
Right.
so that we can use it and translate it so that it's, if they are using math, we can count it as a math
Yeah.
class at the high school. If they are writing, then we can use it as an English class. I mean, it's, sometimes those barriers that students have writing a traditional English class or doing a traditional math class, those aren't barriers, when it's applied, and they succeed at that. And that's what we want to build, is we want to foster that success, that confidence in those areas, and we don't want them to be areas that students, feel like they can't do, because they can do it.
Yep.
I would just like to say thank you to Mr. Mack for all of his years, for all, I mean, he's been here, he's an institution.
Yeah.
And there's been many conversations over the years because of lack of state certification to how do we fill a position such as his. So thank you to him, and enjoy retirement. It's well deserved.
I just had a comment about notices and information being communicated. If it could maybe get a scrub over once or twice. There's been several times over the last few months that a message goes out and then, kind of the blow up because it didn't maybe include all the information or the correct information. And then another one goes out and another. So if that could just maybe have a second quick glance before communication does go out, that'd be good.
I just want to, again, send out kudos to all of the RSU4 educators that were nominated or recognized for Maine Teacher or County Teacher of the Year. I hope that they consider going on with the next step. I know it takes a lot of work, but every single one of them are highly qualified to go up further. So kudos to them.
10.1, we are going to enter into executive session pursuant to 1 MRSA 4056D regarding professionals' collective bargaining agreement negotiations.
So moved. Second.
All those in favor? Everybody.
Going in at 7:32.
7:32.